past couple of years, the Economic Development and Lands Department's been working with MNP in the development of a ECDEP corporation, and he's just here to update you on where it stands, the structure, and how that system will all work out. We are recording this just because there was a few members that couldn't make it, so we're willing to do a video and share the video with them. If you have any questions during the presentation and you don't want to be recorded, you can wait till the end, or if you're comfortable with asking your question while it's being recorded, feel free. And if you happen to have any questions after, you can inbox info@gesgapegiag.ca and we can get your questions to the proper person to answer. And I'll just pass it over to Wayne.
Thanks for having us out. So as much as I was mentioning, we've been working with the nation on economic development. As you are growing in a business sense, you've added more businesses, the revenue streams coming in, it opens up some additional areas. It's not so much concern, but there's more factors being involved. You have more profits coming in, how to handle them, what to do with them. You know, we look at tax implications, liability. We look at separating the politics from the business and giving basically a good solid foundation to continue growing your existing businesses, but also adding new ones. To a structure that works no matter what you get into, whether you're partnering with other nations, partnering with private businesses, or other corporations. So the presentation we have today, it is quite short and straightforward, but by all means, if there's any questions, we can spend as much time going deep into it as needed. So for the past couple of years, the purpose of this project we've been working on, we'll go through all of the purposes for it, the objectives that we're trying to reach by making these structural changes to the business. And then what we've done is we've come up with a structure particular to your situation that we'll be recommending to the Chief Counsel. So what is it about? The main objective is simply to ensure that the community is participating in the surrounding economy and that they have the capacity and structures to facilitate their involvement in economic growth. So what does that mean? As you grow, you want to be able to take advantages of maybe businesses that come up for sale, partnerships that come up, revenue streams, all the while keeping in mind that you have certain tax advantages that you don't want to give up. You want to be able to protect yourselves and your existing assets of the nation in case something happens with one of these businesses. So we look at three key areas of a business structure, and the first one, and in no particular order, but government. So you have a chief and council that run the nation. You know, that's more of a government position. They are responsible for the entire nation. They're responsible for its people, its economy, its growth, the social activities, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education. Some of these things really have nothing to do with business. So when we develop economic structures, we look at what is the role of government, being chief and council, and what really is the role of the business side or the individual businesses and people involved in that. And what we'd like to do is kind of separate those things, because a direction that a business takes should be based on what's best for the business. At the end of the day, it's there to generate profit. And at that point, you can put it back into education, you can put it back into healthcare, you can use it to expand into other businesses. But we really want to keep that focus on the economic development side to economic development, and let the governance side, the chief and council side, worry and deal with the nation as a whole and the people. The business management, so in a little more detail, it's meant to run that business. So when you get bigger and have more businesses, and you start out small, a lot of times chief and council are looking after those businesses, they're directly involved, they potentially are the board of directors, but as you grow and have more businesses and have more members and more social aspects, they only have so much time, and there's only so many of them. And we want to make sure that they have enough time to do the important things in the community, and let the people running the business deal with the day-to-day business operations, the decisions that only affect that business. And then the wealth management, at the end of the day, the purpose of getting into business is to make money. The council may have a mandate for employment. They want the people of the nation to be employed. And a lot of times what happens is the businesses are looked at an avenue to give employment, which they are, but they're not there specifically to employ people, they're there to make money in order to create jobs to employ people. So chief and council and the person running the business, while they're reaching the same goal, they look at it differently. And that's why we want to separate the business, and then once you're making those profits, how are you going to distribute them? Maybe it goes into another business, maybe some of it is kept back into that existing business so that it can grow, buy new assets. Maybe it's a new boat for the fisheries, maybe it's an additional boat, not just replacing something. But chief and council will always mandate, according to what the members want, that so much of it needs to go back into education, so much needs to go back into health or into infrastructure. So the structures we set up, really, they don't take control away from the membership. You're electing the chief and council, you're telling them what you want. They then make sure things are in place and it's run a certain way and really maintain that full control. But the people who are down there with the businesses, they can do their jobs, they can make money for the nation, they can make decisions based on the business and not have to be stretched out over multiple different business and social aspects. So objectives of governance change is to separate management from politics. Because there usually is two different directions that those go in. One wants to create employment for members, the other only wants to create employment if it makes sense for the business. Create transparency. If one person runs everything, there's always that opportunity for members of the community or other people that they don't get to see everything. And it's not necessarily that someone is going to do something wrong or be, crooked or anything like that. It just allows for real transparency when you have the structure set up and people have specific functions related to the business side and governance side. Then it's very easy for you guys as members to really know what's going on and what your investments are going into and what's coming back to the community. Minimize or eliminate income taxes. So part of the structure, corporations pay tax. If a member is working off reserve, they pay tax. And we want to make sure that when these businesses are making money, that it does come back to the community and it essentially preserves any tax savings or exemptions that you currently have. You should be able to take advantage of those and not be penalized because you're having that economic growth. Helping people understand the results of the business, so by separating again from a nation or community, social, chief and council side of governance and a pure business governance, really lets you see how well it's doing. Things don't get blended. You can really see, is it producing a profit? Is it effective? Is it efficient? Should it grow? Should it be shut down? And maybe if you have multiple opportunities coming and only so many resources put into them, it helps everybody involved make those decisions, and it helps also the chief and council relate to you guys what's going on and to understand what makes sense to do and what doesn't. And a big thing is the protection. So it allows for liability protection. It allows protection of the assets. If something happens with the fishery, you don't want to risk the chalets. If a business doesn't work out and goes bankrupt, you don't want to lose everything because of that. And it's not just in terms of those business assets, but if something happens where you get sued, you don't want to put everything at risk to go into business. So a lot of this, it helps protect on that liability, it protects the other assets, it protects the nation itself, and it protects the people. Because if you do have somebody involved in the business that's doing something that's wrong, and it causes negligence or liability, it gets restricted to that level of that individual. It's not chief and council that are responsible because of one person. So this is your current structure that we've been working with for the past couple of years. So you have your membership, who elect your chief and council, and then essentially they own all the businesses. Some of them are incorporated, some of them are not incorporated. There are some businesses you added since we've been working on this, one in particular being the chalets. But this here, basically, you don't have any protection at this line. So all of the liabilities can transfer across all of the businesses. All the liabilities can go up to chief and council. If you're operating businesses purely on reserve, you would still have protection on the tax side. But if the chalets are not on reserve land, it's a corporation, it effectively has to pay tax. So how do you move that money back onto reserve without having tax? In this structure, it can become very difficult to do that. And then there's the separation of business and politics. There's only one line of governance, and if they're looking from the social side, from the nation side, making decisions based on that, some of these businesses may suffer. It's not because it's not necessarily the right thing to do, but from a business perspective, it may impair the business to help a social side of the nation. So what we've looked at for a recommended structure is you still have membership, elected chief and council. So the final decision making is still here, you can still control the power, and they will appoint a board of directors to run this corporation for your economic development. And what that allows is, if the board of directors is 5 people or 7, and it can be anyone, it can be chief and council, it can be a mixture of chief and council with members of the community. And a lot of times, it may be someone from outside of the community that has a certain expertise and knowledge that may be missing that can add to the decision-making process of the business itself. So by appointing these people, all they have to worry about is business. They don't have to worry about the social side. They don't have to worry about healthcare, education. They will be told what the rules are. They will be mandated by chief and council. Here's the direction on a high level of what you're expected to do. And then they will run the business according to that. They will make all the small decisions. They can be made quickly because that's what their focus is. There's times where more important things come up at the nation level, so that leaves chief and council free to deal with those. And even in cases where they may still be the same people, at least when they're at this table, they're just focused on the businesses. So by this being the board of directors, that helps separate the governance of the business and the politics. The next stage is just being a corporation. So being a corporation, it is an actual individual. It's considered an individual. It has rights like a person. It has liability like a person. But it stops here. So it can protect any other assets outside of this economic development corporation. If something happens to it, if it gets sued, if it does something wrong, if it loses money, and it has creditors and assets being secured, they can't go past. So it helps protect the school that's out here, this building that's out here. It keeps it protected from lawsuits, from lack of profit, from creditors. Then you have all your individual businesses. So this corporation will own any business corporations that you have. They'll have a share of them. And the way we set up with the partnership, it's just like it sounds. It's 2 entities partnering up to do something. You have a general partner, and then you have a limited partner. The difference in those 2 terms, the general partner, which will be the business, they take on all the risk. They worry about losing everything, losing the assets. They'll hold all the assets. They'll worry about liability, lawsuits, things like that. But at the end of the day, it is a corporation. And it has that protection that it stays with it, that it can only lose the assets that are in here. The limited partners, which, if you ignore this for a minute, the limited partners really are chief and council. And this is to move the profits. Because they're individuals, and the only thing they lose is what they put into it. If they put $1 in for all their partnership units, that's all they can lose out of. But the profits can be set up that 99.9% of them will flow to whoever holds these limited partnership units. And because it's chief and council, on behalf of membership, they're individuals, they're on reserve, they have certain tax exemptions, and those are protected. So that's how we save on the tax side, that you're not paying. This corporation has to pay taxes, but it won't make any money. The profits will flow this way, and they will make the money, because the two of them are partners through this structure. The one additional level that eventually you may get to and you may want is we add the wealth management piece into it. So this is strictly for the distribution of the profits. If the profits go to chief and council, they would distribute, some go to healthcare, some go to education, some go to various projects on the nation itself. Or maybe they're quite busy and they want to appoint another board of directors here and let this corporation worry about distribution. Maybe some of it goes back into businesses, some of it goes back to community. At the end of the day, they will still have control. They will still mandate what this board of directors does. So you don't lose control by having different people or even outside people a part of these board of directors. They will have rules to follow. But it helps, again, separate the business side, the distribution side from politics. It helps provide additional time and expertise associated purely with this so that people aren't stretched across all of it. And it gives the transparency of what is happening with the money. It doesn't, everything isn't all going to one place. It would be very easy for an individual to say, well, I want to see what the business is doing, or I want to see what this is doing. Everyone will have the roles, they'll be clearly defined, so it helps with that transparency. It helps for people to know what's really going on with it. Any questions? And I can go back to any of the slides.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
This one?
Yes, this one.
Okay.
So when you talk about transparency,
Yes.
so you're saying that with this there will be increased transparency
Yes.
about how the money is distributed or what's being done with the money.
Yes.
But the community receive or have access to the consolidated financial statement on a yearly basis. In these consolidated financial statements, the community member have a sense of the revenue of those businesses as well as the expenditure or the transfer to other department, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is the difference? What is
So then, and it depends on how it's set up. You may have a very good system today on the reports of what the businesses are doing and how it's going up, and maybe that's going, what's going to chief and council, and then when they distribute, they may send out reports. It's not, again, it's not that anything is being done wrong. It simply makes it easier, and a lot of it also has to do with size. So if you have 40 businesses down here and funding from multiple, maybe you have partnerships for the window, and that's held separately from this for protection. And then you have the fisheries, maybe it gets really big, so that's tend to be held separately. And then you have the chalets and several smaller businesses. You can start to get where this seems very simple, it's just one line, but there could be a lot, there could be funding, government funding that comes in, and it's more to keep it simple. So the transparency is, again, it's not to imply something is being done wrong. It simply gives the tools that no matter how big this gets, how many different avenues of funding come in and funds going out, that it's traceable. It's mandated by the people. Whenever you have one set of people making decisions on everything, it can tend to get, so in this case, let's say education is really a big deal today. But you've done, as a community and chief of council, you've done a strategic plan that says this is what we're going to do for the next couple of years. Should they change it? If you needed those funds today, should they simply make the decision and do it? And yes, you probably will see it, but then you'll see it after the fact. Whereas if you have people dedicated to this, maybe that's part of their job, is to, you have the 5-year plan, you have direction on what's supposed to happen, but you've given them the ability to make those decisions, working with people council, working with the community to maybe change some of the strategies for issues that come up immediately. It helps to spread the word around, because if they're so busy and have so many things on their plate, maybe that's not important because there's a health issue that's bigger. And this just allows for clean decisions, increased transparency, and it gives you the opportunity to make good decisions on the distribution side. And we are focusing on the business side, but on the wealth distribution side, it gives you the flexibility without having to worry of, I wouldn't call it mistakes, but making sure that the direction is what the community wants. Does that answer your question, or does that make it worse?
No, it
So
kind of
it
answers
doesn't
the
have
question.
to. Yeah, I mean, it's only meant to be an extension. All of these, this board of directors is an extension of the top two. They're an extension of community and chief of council to run the businesses. And the wealth management is an extension to run that.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that the consolidated reporting and financial statements will be separate. They'll still be under the MOJ umbrella.
They will,
They
so
have a
they,
separate setup.
if you went this route, they would have their own set. So the funding, profits or funding going in would be shown coming into that corporation. And then funds distributed would be shown going out. And in that sense, it makes it easier to see the money coming in, money going out, because that's all that's going to be in here. So it does, instead of this stuff getting blended in together, they get separated a little more. So in terms of transparency, it would be easier to see than one financial statement of all of this running up into one set. You might have, you'd be able to see the individual financial statements, the financial statements of this business, and financial statements here. So it would just make it clearer and easier to look at.
So it's a separate audit system for the corporation.
Yes, you can be absolutely, and you would, as it gets bigger, as it makes sense, you would start doing that, yes.
Now, I have another question.
Sure.
You talked about that with respect to the creation of the corporation, that chief and council could decide that they'll be the board of director at the beginning or forever, depending on the chief and council, or they could decide a certain number of councillors would be on the board of director, right? But the decision will rest with the political leaders.
The initial. So the way it would work is when this is being set up in the articles of incorporation for that corporation, there would be a range of, say, this corporation must have between 2 and 7 board of directors. Then chief and council would decide, okay, we're going to have 5. That would be the total directors. And it can be any number. And today they might decide we are going to be the 5 directors. Or if there's 8 chief and council, it can be 8. And in part of your long-term strategic planning, the goal would be to not be a member just because you're chief and council. The big thing with board of directors is continuity. So if they made some decisions as the board of directors today on a business that they felt were important for the business to move forward, and there was elections and new chief and council came in, and the rule was you had to be chief and council to be on the board. Now all that work may be wasted because it's new people. Maybe they don't know all the past work that was done. Maybe they spend a lot of wasted time simply coming up to speed. And if that decision that was made by the previous ones had a time issue with it, you could lose opportunity. So the goal would be to work towards, and maybe it's over 2 or 3 or 5 years, to elect people that have the skills for the businesses. And you could start with all chief and council, and maybe each year replace with others that, and it doesn't matter if they're from the community, on council, not on council, they're there because of their ability to deal with the business side of it. A lot of times too, part of the strategy that you have, say, 5 members from the community is look for 2 members off the community. They don't have any involvement on the political side. They don't have any involvement on the community side directly. They have expertise in maybe some of these businesses or in operating larger businesses and can bring you, if you're lacking financial knowledge on the board, or if you want somebody with legal knowledge on the board, or someone specifically with fisheries knowledge that's been in it for 30 years. So the progression, the goal would be to get purely to a board of directors that are elected because of their skills, and to have them on there for a longer period of time, not an election cycle time for continuity. And the ultimate goal would be to get, and those board of directors don't necessarily have to vote if they're not from the community, but to add a couple from outside the community so that you get that overall perspective. They can step back and see things a little bit different because they're not on the community. And they might have the expertise for that maybe 5-year term that you may not have at that time.
So at this time, there's no set criteria for the member selection.
No, and that is something that's kind of the next step, is to decide the details. So how many members for the board of directors will be here? Usually in this case, it would be the chief of council to a certain number, maybe all of them or maybe 5 of them, simply to get things going and get everything set up. And part of what they will do in the setup of the corporation is decide, here's how we're going to select board of directors. And that will always be, we're going to go through a process of opening up community. People who want to be on it will submit their name, their qualifications, and then we'll compare it to a grid of skills that we want everybody to have to be on the board. Those skills wouldn't be so detailed to legal or finance or that kind of thing. There would be broader skills, the ability to read or understand financial statements, the ability to understand legal implications, that sort of thing. And then they might decide, that's the first criteria to select an individual member. And the second criteria could be, we want 5 specific traits. We want somebody who knows financial statements in depth. So out of whoever we pick, at least one of them has to have that skill. We want someone who has a good understanding of legal implications. So out of that group, at least one has to have that. And then they will form that board to meet not only the criteria everybody needs, but the criteria the board needs as a group. And that's, you would progress into that. Anyone else? Any questions? Anything?
I have some.
Sure.
Of course, I have all these questions. So let's say at the beginning, chief and council will be the board for the corporation. How can they dissociate their role as chief and council with the social mandate of employment, with being at the table one day at council deciding on we need jobs for people, to the next day having a meeting of the board and the business focus?
Yes, great question.
How can they do that?
And it's hard, and that's why the point is to appoint a board of members that are there for business. In the beginning, you will, in most cases, they will start off as that board of directors, and that's the separation of business and politics. If the mandate is we decided we need to create jobs, but the business needs to lay 5 people off. Now you've got conflicting decisions. We need the jobs, but this business has to lay off 5 people. They would be inclined to say, well, let's not lay them off. Let's just keep them there. We'll pay for it. The business makes enough money. But that's not a good business decision. So that's why, and some can do it. There are people who can do both. They can take one hat off and they can put another hat on. It can make the decision making for them very, very hard. But that's the goal of having that board of directors eventually being there purely for the business and having the, if you go with the Wealth Management Corporation, having that board of directors, these are our mandates. And our mandates aren't always the same as chief and council at that point in time. So that's the reason to do that, because it can be difficult to wear both hats at the same time and make a decision, especially when they conflict. If you needed funds to fix the school and you needed both for the fisheries, which one are you going to do? The board member for the corporation, they would justify we need them both. The chief and council board member would justify no, we need the money to come out to go to community. But if you use all that money ahead of time and never look after your businesses, then what ends up happening is you have a business that can't make money, and then there's no future money to go back into the community.
In your experience, is there an example where there is a separation between the business corporation and the chief and council in other First Nations? Because I'm just trying to separate between. Yeah, exactly. Like if somebody said the decision-making process should always reside with the board, and then because decisions can be overturned by chief and council.
Yeah, so what would happen if I'm not understanding it correctly, but, so at this level right here, the chief and council hold the shares in this on behalf of membership, so they are the shareholders, they are the boss. The directors here are making decisions based on this. They shouldn't get directly involved with individual decisions. What they will do is they will expect certain themes to be followed and certain performance to be had by this business.
Yeah.
And they will review that. If they don't like it, they can appoint, they will process, they would question, they would discuss it with the chairman of the board, see why things aren't the way it was intended, why they're just the money, they're doing stuff that really isn't part of the mandate of the business, and then they can make the decision to appoint new directors. So that's how they control it, because they are the shareholders, they're the owners, and if there's something not being done right now, if a director is doing something that absolutely shouldn't, they can remove them right then. But it's not a sense of changing the decisions, it would be changing people, because you want to make sure, and sometimes a bit of trial and error, that you've elected people that you have confidence in the decision making, so they won't get down to that level, because otherwise you would just have chief and council as the board if they're going to change decisions. Any other questions?
Who will recommend to chief and council the criteria?
We can certainly do it.
Criteria for appointing members to the corporation.
So we've done it for others, and it's something we do offer. We develop a matrix of skills for everybody. So we would recommend that you look for anyone being on it has these type of skills, and this would be the process of finding those people, whether we recommend, maybe individuals would recommend others or nominate others. Chief and council would definitely have people in mind they think would be good for it. They would still be open up to everybody. If you want to put your name in, you would submit it and you would say, I have these skills to contribute. Then we would also have that second matrix of these are the skills based on the businesses, these are the individual ones that the board as a group should have. And we recommend the process of finding those. At the end of the day, it would be up to them on how they want to follow. But we would give them a map of here's how we recommend finding those people in point, including the transition stage, and that was going to be the direction of each year we place 2 or 3. There's nothing wrong with maintaining a council member on the board permanently. They may or may not vote, but at least council has representation on the board. And we've done that too with others where there's always one of them on any board. They just don't make they just don't do it.
And are there any criteria about conflict of interest?
Oh, absolutely. On any board of directors, whether it's with First Nation or business or anything, if there's a conflict of interest, you're expected to let anybody, whoever you want to
No,
know.
but even in the appointment phase or the selection phase?
So if I'm chief and I want my brother on it, I put him on, like that.
No, let's say that I'm a part of the council and I'm a fisherman, and so, there's potential or apparent conflict of interest with that, with many of those businesses, so.
So there's actual conflict and perceived conflict. So if you own your own business that works with fisheries directly, that would be a direct conflict. You would have to, a couple ways to look at it. One, you have to let everyone know, hey, I have this business, I have a direct line to it, there's a direct conflict. And in that case, everyone else would make the decision. Is it reasonable? And maybe you remove yourself from any decision making that may affect your direct involvement in fisheries. So if it's a contract between your business and fisheries, you would remove yourself from that discussion. The others would vote on it, you would hold no voting power on it. There's also perceived. Your cousin owns a business that deals with fisheries, and maybe there is no direct conflict, you have nothing to do with it, but you want to make sure everyone is aware of that. And if they feel they would like you to not be present for those votes, that's how you would handle it. Sometimes that is enough, sometimes it's not. If there could come an issue where it can't be alleviated through non-voting, or maybe the perception in the community might be too strong, so they wouldn't select you. Anyone else? So if there are further questions that you think of later on, by all means reach out, and they could, their department probably can put together a list and certainly send it to us, and we can respond to all of them. So, thank you very much.